Oh, I guess it was bound to happen sometime, vying for the dubious honor that D-Force currently holds, as we saw in episode 46 of Bullet Heaven HD. Deep Blue Kaite Shinwa, translated as Deep Blue Undersea Mythology, is a PC Engine shmup that sure doesn't do itself any favors.
Released to the PC Engine in 1989 by the infamous Pack-In Video and subsequently to the TurboGrafx-16 by NEC, Deep Blue is a shooter. A horizontal one. And, well, a pretty crappy one too. Shitty even. Let's take a look.
As it turns out, Deep Blue is, in fact, a lump of feces disguised as a game which somehow functions within the confines of a PC Engine or TurboGrafx-16. It uses a controller, you can move your fish thingy, you can shoot some other actual fish with bullets, and that's more or less it. But this wouldn't be much of a review if we didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of it all.
It's hard to quantify the movement rate in Deep Blue. Some might say the default speed of your fish... ship? Submarine? Thingy. The speed of your thingy is really flippin' slow. But how slow? 0.25 snail speed units? Half a tortoise speed? Something along those lines.
Likewise, your main shot lacks the kind of punch you want in a shooting game. But how much power does it lack? What is its power range? Packing peanut? Spitball? Wet bread? Whatever it is, it doesn't do the job especially well.
There's a lot of marine life that players are tasked with annihilating. Your fish and ship's mission is to destroy mutated ocean critters and undersea ecosystems alike. To help, blasting sunfish into sea foam reveals various weapons and enhancements, which can often make short work of the organisms that fall victim to them.
New weapons along with extra shot power and extra speed are great things, but only if they're able to be maintained. The problem is that because Deep Blue is a f***ing asshole, it's incredibly hard to avoid being hit by some kind of fish at any given time. This ends up removing the effects of any power-ups you happen to have instantly. You'll never have an upgraded weapon for very long. To make matters worse, you won't pick up any enhancements while you're hit, and you can't shoot while you're shocked, which takes a bit of time to recover from. There's just no chance for recovery while you're getting f***ed over, especially by these f***ing things.
While you can take a fair bit of abuse in the Phileo ship, it can only mostly inaccurately be gauged by its eyes. Blue is all clear, green is iffy, yellow kinda dying, red mostly dead. The more it blinks, the closer you are to transitioning into the next color, or outright death. And with only one life and no continues to speak of, it gets pretty trying. There are life ups that will recondition your pseudo-sushi to full health though. Not that it matters, since everything in this atrocity will end up hitting you with your ghastly huge hitbox. Further exemplifying the broken nature of Deep Blue, each of the 4 bosses in the game are laughably easy. It's just nearly impossible to get to them.
The relentlessly quick and deadly sea stuff can and will kill you quickly while frustrating the holy hell out of you always. Your enemy's fast movement paired with your metal mackerel's sea sluggish speed and enormous hitbox make for a nearly constant collision and almost zero weapon progression. 4 areas of this assholish abuse is too much, man. Yeah, this game sucks. In no small way do I say the following. Deep Blue instills a deep, dark feeling of despair that can and very certainly will inflict heavy emotional wounds and permanent mental scarring with any extended amount of playtime.
There's also no way to learn the enemy patterns inside of bosses. Every enemy wave is randomly placed and moves completely erratically. It normally boils down to luck. In all honesty, we seriously can't find any redeeming factors to Deep Blue's actual gameplay. Much like D-Force, Deep Blue is a complete dud gameplay-wise. There aren't even any credits. It's like the people who made it were all like, ha! Fuck no, we don't want anyone to know we made this.
So here's the thing about the scoring. You shoot stuff, you get a score.
That's it. That's all there is to it. Next section.
At the very least, there's graphics and sound and stuff, right? I mean, they couldn't mess that up, yeah?
Well, the best designed thing on screen is obviously the steel salmon that you're piloting, and the bosses are okay, but Darius does it so much better. A lot of the stuff you'll be up against will have you hating them too, not just because they will keep colliding with you, but also because they don't look like much, if anything at all. The backgrounds are also plain and boring and don't do a lot to keep things interesting, despite a little multi-layered scrolling and stuff. Also, stuff in the foreground can be a complete bitch too, sometimes obscuring huge portions of the screen.
And how about that sound, eh? Boring at best, shitty at worst. It's the kind of stuff you'd expect at a funeral home for dead pixels. Far from pushing the sound in the PC Engine or TurboGrafx-16 anywhere near its limits, complete with irritating garbage effects, this is a game that sounds as bland as it looks and almost as bad as it plays.
It sure is a solid waste of a somewhat interesting concept. And what do you get for your efforts in the end? A locked up system. Thanks, Deep Blue. Let's see how it stacks up.
Control paired with imbalanced enemy movement literally makes for constant collision.
Shit control in a huge hitbox also makes for constant frustration.
This game isn't challenging, it's broken.
Not just broken though, it's beyond fixing.
4 stages of pure unadulterated frustration? No thanks. And what do you get for enduring it all? Literally nothing.
We wouldn't blame anyone for playing this game for less than 30 seconds and getting their fill.
Bland enemies are often unidentifiable and terribly designed.
Bland backgrounds don't help things visually.
Boring-ass grating music is all you'll get here.
This digital snorefest is accentuated with some of the most irritating sound effects we've heard yet.
Move right. Shoot. There is no excuse for this utter lack of effort, nor this blatant lack of technical finesse. F is too close to A. We need a new letter for this.
This game could be responsible for causing permanent, debilitating brain damage if you're not careful. Kasuge to the authoritative max.
Deep Blue is an absolute waste of time. No one should be playing this game outside of performing a case study of how to create the most busted shooter ever. It's utterly ironic that this game exists on a platform dripping with so much shooting quality. And guess what? It beats D-Force and reigns supreme as the absolute worst we've seen to date. Deep Blue gets a 0.25 out of 5. If, for whatever reason, you need to get yourself some Deep Blue, and if you're a rational person, you shouldn't, you can get your very own copy on PC Engine for under $10. On the TurboGrafx 16, you'll pay, wait, what? $30? Hell no, save your money. Don't get either. Seriously, life is too short to waste on this utter trash.
Thing on screen is obviously the steel salmon you're piloting, and the bosses are okay, but Darius does it so much better. While you can take a fair bit of abuse in the Phileo ship, it can be... Oh, well,